What's happening, gang? It's your boy Retro back again with another reaction video. Yeah. Today we got another huge update. You guys can probably already tell that it is going down. Just by that title alone, you guys are definitely going to want to check this one out. So we got that Sanctuary City Mayor of Chicago, Brandon Johnson, now taking some serious heat after essentially bankrupting the city's budget by spending millions on illegal immigrants, guys. And I'm excited to get into this one, so we're not straight into it. All I ask that you guys please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. And without further ado, hop straight into it, folks. Check this one out.
Statement. And tonight I'm here in Chicago, a place I've been visiting for years and years. I love this city, but I'm sad to say the same thing is happening here. These cities are crumbling under liberal leadership. Chicago has a huge problem with illegal immigration, but Mayor Brandon Johnson refuses to do anything about it. In fact, he's refusing to let police cooperate with ICE.
Would you consider setting up CPD perimeters around public spaces in Chicago?
Many working people and poor people need government to show up for them. The Trump administration has caused so much consternation and division. Look, we are a welcoming city ordinance. Our local police department will not ever cooperate with ICE.
That's a shock that it has a 26% approval rating, but the good news it's up from 6% in February. Here to react, former Illinois Governor Rod Blagojevich. Gov, good to see you tonight. What is the biggest problem that Chicago is facing right now, if you say?
Mayor Johnson and that type of leadership. I mean, he makes Lori Lightfoot, who was a failed mayor, look less bad. Welcome to Chicago, by the way. I hope you brought security with you, because it's a city where crime is up, arrests are down, and we're really one of the highest taxed cities in the nation. And this mayor has spent almost $700 million on illegal immigrants at the expense of the poor neighborhoods on the south and west side of Chicago, the very people the Democratic Party claims they're for.
Well, look, you just have to look around the city. It is one of the most spectacular cities in the world, I think. I always believe that about Chicago. But right now you have a mayor who is so bad, even the Chicago Tribune lead editorial today basically saying he's trying to come up with other ways to drive businesses out of Chicago. So many have already left. I guess Citadel left, went to Miami. Others are planning to leave because of high taxes. Now they're figuring out ways to add more corporate taxes onto businesses in Chicago. But people say, oh, just let the cities go. Let them collapse on their own weight, because this is what the voters want, Governor.
Well, the voters don't want that. The voters want cities like Chicago and New York to be vibrant, successful, and historic cities like they are. These are cities with great people in them. The problem is the leaders have failed them.
Well, as you guys could probably see by now, that Sanctuary City Mayor of Chicago, Brandon Johnson, is destroying the city as we know it, and somehow trying to place the blame on President Donald Trump. Take a look.
You know, as far as, you know, the president's animus towards women, people of color, working people, we have always known who he has been. And this is not a surprise. He's a monster. Period. We have the most diverse administration in the history of Chicago. And he is threatened by that. You can tell when someone is fearful is because they act out. We have a president that is screaming and having tantrums right now because we have an administration that reflects the city of Chicago, but he would much rather have administrations that reflect the country club.
All right, guys, this stuff is so bad that it's becoming laughable. Now we've got that Sanctuary City Mayor, Brandon Johnson, calling President Trump a monster and saying that he is acting out because he knows that he's guilty. But I think this is projection 101. You actually got Brandon Johnson being referred for criminal prosecution alongside other Sanctuary City mayors by Representative Anna Paulina Luna.
So you don't believe that banning the transfer of individuals into ICE custody for the purpose of civil immigration enforcement encourages illegal immigration into Chicago? Or how about agencies, or agents not being able to stop, arrest, or detain individuals based solely on their immigration status or administrative warrant?
So we comply with all laws, local, state, and federal.
To me, after this line of questioning, it's very clear that these policies that you have all implicated are active and alive and well in your cities, are in direct violation with U.S. Title 8 Code subsection 1324, and it is a federal offense. But you all speak about a broken immigration system, and yet here you guys are aiding and abetting in that entire process. I want to be very clear about something. Open border policies, which is something that you guys are talking about, hurts people on both sides, meaning the people that are coming here illegally and then American citizens as well. I do not think you guys are bad people, but I think that you are ideologically misled, which is why, unfortunately, based on your responses, I'm all going to be criminally referring you to the Department of Justice for investigation. And as soon as I leave here, these will be going over to Pam Bondi. I'm not doing that in an effort to bully you guys, but I do believe that your policies are hurting the American people, and you can make that known with the evidence that you can present to the Department of Justice. But if you guys continue doing what you're doing, you're not going to help anyone. You're going to hurt more people, and that's exactly why I'm tired of it. The American people are tired of it. And Chairman, I yield my time.
Wow, guys, that was Representative Anna Paulina Luna referring Brandon Johnson alongside other sanctuary city mayors for criminal prosecution. So if anyone's acting out is an admission of their guilt, it would be Mayor Brandon Johnson. Acting out is an understatement for his behavior in these last couple of weeks. I want to play a couple clips for you guys to show you the behavior of this lunatic mayor, Brandon Johnson. Just see.
I'll close with this. President Biden at a commencement speak at Howard University a couple of years ago said that the greatest threat to our democracy is white supremacy. He is right. But I also know that the greatest challenge that white supremacy has ever faced is the unyielding spirit of black liberation.
I love how they panned to Biden in the crowd there, and he's looking like, wait, did I say that? Me? Did I say that? Oh my goodness, guys, you can't make up this type of craziness. Talk about putting a divide between the American people and their neighbor. It's this guy, Brandon Johnson, not President Donald Trump, but he does not stop there. It only gets worse. I want you guys to see this. This guy is just out of control.
Now look, white supremacy is real, y'all.
Say that. Say that.
I'm gonna say that one more time.
Say that.
Because in case the city of Chicago don't know, you got a black mayor with a black wife, black children on the west side of Chicago. And all of these other administrations that shut down our schools, that shut down public housing, that raided the pensions, that sold off the parking meter, that sold off the Skyway. Those people ran this city to the ground, and now they expect a brother to fix it in a year.
Say it.
Well, guess what? We're off to a great start, and I look forward to fixing they mess, building up our communities for the next 23 freaking years. God bless you, Chicago. Southside.
Okay, this guy's completely lost it. He is so quick to point and place the blame on someone else. And if you thought that was the worst of it, wait 1 second, guys. I've got even more. This is Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson admitting that he's giving special treatments and contracts to black-owned businesses. It's illegal to discriminate on the basis of race, and this guy is going to pay for it very soon.
And we did some expansion at the airport, particularly in the cargo. And do you know there's never been a prime construction company that has led growth for an airport, particularly in cargo, anywhere in the United States of America? But BOA Construction received the prime construction contract at O'Hare under my administration. It's the first black prime construction worker company to have a prime contract anywhere in the United States of America. And that's critical, not just for BOA Construction, but for the lives that he's going to transform because he's hiring them. But it's also critical for other major construction companies or mid-sized construction companies that are black owned to know that there is a mayor who sees them and is going to work hard to ensure that whether you're developing homes, whether you are, looking to help take advantage of the opportunities through aviation, whether it's entrepreneurship to provide a service, that there are resources available for you in the city of Chicago. And one thing that I know for sure that I have to do over these next 2 years, every single dime that our people have been robbed of, I want to make sure that that is returned 2, 3-fold, because I believe in something called press down, running over. That is what we have to make sure that happens within our communities.
All right, guys, so now I hope you can see this aim that Brandon Johnson is trying to take on. He's trying to take on the role of the quote-unquote oppressed. We all know that is not the case. If anyone is to blame for the current state, the situation that Chicago has found themselves in, it's this guy, Brandon Johnson. And now residents are coming out furious, they're outraged because they're seeing this discriminatory angle, this divide that he's trying to put between Chicagoans and their neighbors.
Real Chicagoans woke up this morning relieved that the Department of Justice is finally investigating your race hustle. As someone who grew up on the south side of Chicago, I've heard a lot of race hustlers in my life, trust me, but they were usually marching around outside of City Hall, which is what makes this so embarrassing and dangerous. Very, very dangerous to the city of Chicago.
Okay, we need the question.
I'm more than happy to ask this question. It's long overdue. For over a year, real Chicagoans, white and black, have been telling me that your black power rhetoric is bringing the city backwards from a place that
we need the question.
Had overcome. You want the question?
Please.
Real Chicagoans want to know, why are you a racist?
Well, first of all, I reject the idea and the premise that somehow that's an actual legitimate question.
You want that?
All right, we're going to go to the next one. Alice?
The next question, my follow-up question is a businessman, Robert Gomez, had his riverfront restaurant license yanked. You said that the reason you hire black people is because they're the most generous race on the planet. His riverfront restaurant license was yanked and given to a black restaurateur. That has, once again, reinforced the belief among real Chicagoans, white and black and Mexican, that you are a racist. What do you say to those people?
Again, I reject the premise that somehow that your question has any legitimacy.
So it's getting out of hand over there in the city of Chicago. Now we're seeing that crazy mayor, Brandon Johnson, being pressed by the people, and rightfully so. They're not going to sit by and allow this, discriminatory treatment. You cannot do that. That is illegal, and that's exactly why we're seeing him facing legal consequences now, as we have Assistant Attorney General for Civil Rights, Harmeet Dillon, investigating this racial discrimination by the mayor, Brandon Johnson.
He received a 2-page letter from General Dillon the next day announcing the city is under investigation to determine whether it has engaged in a pattern or practice of racial discrimination.
It's not the 1960s. It isn't the fresh days of the civil rights movement. And in 2025, the mayor of Chicago is proudly proclaiming name after name or job description after job description of African Americans who he has hired. And then also made some remarks about how they do a better job, or, he's trying to help them build their businesses, and basically giving this rent seeking for a particular race because he's from that background, or because that's what is politically demanded in his city, and that's illegal.
It looks to some folks like the administration is targeting a political enemy, whereas the comments from Mayor Johnson in front of a black audience might appear like ordinary municipal politicking, where you show up at B'nai B'rith and talk about how you have these Jews working for you, and you show up at the Sons of Italy and you tell them how many Italians you've hired. Why isn't it simple, ordinary politicking for him to say this?
Yeah, I mean, you might call it ordinary pandering of a, retail politician, but the city of Chicago actually has a long and lurid history of rent seeking and favoritism and nepotism and all other kinds of discrimination. and specifically racial discrimination.
In her letter, Dillon told Mayor Johnson that her office has not reached any conclusions about the subject matter of the investigation. But in our interview, it appeared she had.
In this case, you have the mayor, I mean, it's a kind of an open and shut case, really, but of course we're doing an investigation to see how wide-ranging and how far back it goes.
General, thank you.
So we're seeing all that race baiting, race hustling. That crazy mayor of Chicago, Brandon Johnson, is finally coming back to haunt him as we now have the Assistant Attorney General for Civil Rights, Harmeet Dillon, on his case. Meanwhile, Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson is still gaslighting the folks by saying the percentage of millionaires and billionaires has increased in Chicago, so he's not too worried about increasing the taxes on them because of the city's current deficit that they're facing in their budget, actually bankrupted by millions. This is all because of him sponsoring illegal migrants, nearly spending $1 billion of the city's proposed budget on illegal immigrants.
How are you handling the possibility that some of these millionaires and billionaires who you want to tax more might just leave Chicago?
Millionaires, particularly in the city of Chicago, that population has increased by about 24%. They're not leaving Chicago. So this notion somehow that we're scaring millionaires away, it's just the opposite. Look at the way our economy is growing. Our airports, particularly O'Hare, continues to break records. Hotel occupancies reached numbers that are pre-pandemic. If you look at the revenue streams that we have control over in the city of Chicago, those revenue streams are going strong. What I can tell you is this, not that I know a whole bunch of millionaires, but do you know what they talk about when they do engage with me? They talk about community safety. They don't talk about taxes.
The city of Chicago has a massive $1.1 billion budget gap to fill ahead of next year. And with the mayor promising not to once again pitch a property tax hikes for city residents, which council, by the way, unanimously rejected this year, what's the game plan for next year? He says he's looking at creative ways to raise tax dollars. And today at City Hall, we learned exactly what's on the table.
Everything has to be on the table. Everything has to be on the table.
The menu on that table appears to target Chicago's ultra-rich, namely finding ways to extract more tax dollars from the 127,000 millionaires that now call Chicago home, as well as the 25 billionaires residing inside these borders. As for the concerns that these ultra-rich will leave if they get taxed more,
they're not leaving Chicago. So this notion somehow that we're scaring millionaires away, it's just the opposite.
Mayor Johnson says the number of Chicago millionaires jumped 24% in recent years. Also on that table, resuming Chicago's corporate head tax. On the books from 1973 to 2014, it taxed companies with over 50 Chicago-based employees $4 per employee each month. It raised $35 million in its final year, ending under Rahm Emanuel, who called it a job killer.
This is the perfect time for us now to look at progressive means.
The message it would send to would-be Chicago employers is
move your employees outside of the city of Chicago.
Samantha Breslow specializes in Chicago's tax structure for corporations.
I represent companies that say to me, why would I be in the city of Chicago any longer? Why would I have employees here? Because I'm being subjected to this tax.
She says the city needs to focus more on generating tax from additional sales and service receipts. A fresh tax on social media advertising also on the mayor's tax table.
People have made billions of dollars from the digital industry. This is something that I've been looking at.
Chicago, though, far from the first to attempt this revenue stream.
I think they need to be very careful with implementing a tax like that. It's been attempted in other states, and there has been substantial challenge to it and not a lot of success.
The mayor says he has working groups assessing which of these, if any, and other so-called forms of progressive revenue should move forward. We'll learn which ones get the green light when he rolls out his budget proposal this fall. City Council will then have to approve it.
Yo, there we have it, guys. Oh my goodness. Talk about a mountain of legal trouble at this Mayor Brandon Johnson has got himself into with the sanctuary city policies of Chicago. And when I really think about this, you assess everything that he's currently faced, you just see this was all avoidable. His words, his non-compliance with the Trump's agenda, the mass deportation agenda, has led him into this pit of doom. I mean, this guy could have just kept his mouth shut, and stop trying to, raise bait and get folks to try to, pit them against their neighbor. Actually serve the people that you were in there elected in for. Instead, this guy is, spending millions on illegal migrants and trying to shield them from the Trump administration. I just look at this like this guy is getting everything that he deserved and some. But guys, definitely hop in that comment section. Comments are open. I'm excited to hear what you guys are thinking about this one. Also, make sure you guys please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd enjoy more content like this, catch you guys on the next week.